The whole world had the same language and the same words. When they were migrating, from the east they came to a valley in the land of Shinar, and settled there. They said to one another, "Come, let us mold bricks and harden them with fire." They used bricks for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the sky, and so make a name for ourselves, otherwise we shall be scattered all over the earth." The Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the people had built. Then the Lord said, "If now, while they are one people, and all have the same language, they have started to do this, nothing they presume to do will be out of their reach. Come, let us go down, and there confuse their language, so that no one will understand the speech of another." So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the speech of all the world. From there the Lord scattered them over all the earth. These are the descendants of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he begot Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. Shem lived 500 years after he begot Arpachshad, and he had other sons and daughters. When Arpachshad was 35 years old, he begot Shelah. Arpachshad lived 403 years after he begot Shelah, and he had other sons and daughters. When Shelah was 30 years old, he begot Eber. Shelah lived 403 years after he begot Eber, and he had other sons and daughters. When Eber was 34 years old, he begot Peleg. Eber lived 430 years after he begot Peleg, and he had other sons and daughters. When Peleg was 30 years old, he begot Reu. Peleg lived 209 years after he begot Reu, and he had other sons and daughters. When Reu was 32 years old, he begot Serug. Reu lived 207 years after he begot Serug, and he had other sons and daughters. When Serug was 30 years old, he begot Nah. Serug lived 200 years after he begot Nah, and he had other sons and daughters. When Nah was 29 years old, he begot Terah. Nah lived 119 years after he begot Terah, and he had other sons and daughters. When Terah was 70 years old, he begot Abram, Nah, and Haran. These are the descendants of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nah, and Haran begot Lot. Haran died before Terah, his father, in his native land, in Ur of the Chaldeans. Abram and Nah took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nah's wife was Milcah, daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and Iscah. Sarai was barren, she had no child. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law, Sarai, the wife of his son Abram, and brought them out of Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. But when they reached Haran, they settled there. The lifetime of Terah was 205 years. Then Terah died in Haran.